everyone, welcome to another Broken Meeple review, and today we've got this huge monstrosity here. Wasteland Delivery Express. Oh, this is quite the right height. I can just rest my head and talk like this. So, as we're talking about, ow, this kind of hurts my chin actually, I'm not going to do that. But Wasteland Express Delivery Service, get it in the right order. It's a pick up and deliver game. Definitely like the whole post-apocalyptic Mad Max setting. Get that in your head and you've already kind of got the gist of this game.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
It's a bit of a slog, 2 to 3 hour game where you are in this post-apocalyptic universe and you are doing errands for various factions while also trying to complete these priority contracts for the employer that you technically have. You've got your truck, you can upgrade it with a ton of mods, be it weapons, more storage, more beds to get allies who could give you some buffs, and you're travelling around this variable map that will change up every game, going to various spots, collecting resources like food, water and weapons, delivering them to other spots, getting money. It's exactly what you think it is in a pick up and deliver game, with a little bit of additions of having to deal with raiders who might come and bust your raider every now and again, but also offer a nice means of you to go, you know what, I need to get some resources and I can't be bothered to go buy them over there, I'm going to go pillage that raider truck. So there's definitely a bit of a sort of aggression that is required in this game, although to be fair you could probably play this without any aggressive nature. Now, pick up and deliver is not my favourite of mechanics, it has to be said. Not to say that I despise it or anything like that. I do have Spike in the other room. It's a very simple pick up and deliver game, although you could probably argue whether it is one or not, but I like that game. I also have another pick up and deliver game, which I'm not going to mention right now because I kind of need to treat it as the elephant in the room a little bit later. But with pick up and deliver, I find that you just can't do a lot with that mechanic. I mean, you go to a spot, you pick something up, you go to another spot, you put it down, you rinse and repeat, you pick up again and put it down there, and you pick that up and you put it down there. There's only so much you can do with a mechanic like that. All the pick up and deliver games I feel very samey. It's do that, put it there. What more can you do with it? What more do you want, I guess? And there are fans of this genre, and fair enough, they've probably got a lot of these games, but I feel that this is one of those ones where you kind of just need one, maybe two, and you're kind of done, really. Certainly I find it that way. And there's also a bit of a gap in the market with like the really small, short pick up and deliver games that take about an hour tops, and then suddenly you have this gap, and then you jump to stuff like this where it takes like 2 to 3 hours plus, possibly even longer, to do a massive pick up and deliver game. There doesn't seem to be anything in the middle. Well, this definitely features in that upper category. I mean, you're talking a 2 to 3 hour game easily. If you're super quick with 2 players and you know exactly what you're doing, I mean exactly what you're doing, no rules checking or anything, you might be able to do it in 90 minutes. Still not convinced though. But yeah, so in Wasteland Delivery, as I said, all the pick up and deliver, but there's no victory points. Sorry, M. Bison doesn't get to make his appearance here. Essentially, you're racing to complete 3 of the priority contracts, and there are 3 public ones on the table, but there's also some private ones from the faction piles that you might, come across, and they're basically more long-term projects, but of course, you're racing to get those 3. Now, of course, having a finish like that does make it a little bit anticlimactic, and this is a fault that goes with all pick up and deliver games. There's no sense of tension. You can normally call who's going to win about 3/4 of the way through, because you think, I'm a bit far behind, he's never going to win, but he's close to it. I mean, he can probably do it in about 4 turns. He's just got to go from there, get that, and put it there. He's going to win. You can call it early. All pick up and deliver games have that problem. This is no exception. Bit anticlimactic. However, let's talk about some good positives of the game. Firstly, component quality. Really very good here. You've got some cool miniatures for the various trucks. You've got, nicely painted standees for I wish they were actual characters, but they're just basically a marker to say whether you've done a mission or not. But aside from the really cool looking artwork and, those little miniatures for the raiders and this monstrosity boss thing that looks like he's basically cut his legs off and sewn himself onto the front of a truck. I'm not sure, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like Optimus Prime, but it went dark. But the cool thing I love with this is that this is a retail version, not a Kickstarter version, but it is kitted out with game trays. The company that basically puts out those cool component trays for boxes, you tend to see them as an extra on Kickstarter for like the deluxe editions. This is a retail edition, and I don't know what came in the Kickstarter version of it, whether there was many differences or not. Not interested. This is a retail copy, it's what I review. But all the game trays in here are standard, and they're great. There's like minor niggles I can call with one or two of them where I think the tiles are a little bit like wonky in there. It's not quite even side or whatever, but they're minor niggles. Other than that though, this game would probably be the worst thing to set up ever. And it's not exactly the quickest game to set up, I admit, but oh my god, my head would just like blow if I had to set this up with baggies and makeshift trays and God knows what else. But no, the trays in here are fantastic. They store every component, they look the part, they're, really well made. I mean, I'm just, get the rulebook out. That is the first thing that greets you when you open the box, the tap tray. This, the mod shop. It's a tray, holds all the mod pieces, all the trailer upgrades and stuff like that. It's all labelled, it tells you what the price is and everything. It's hit and miss though with that though, because yes, this tray is fantastic. You just pull it out and there it is, it's set up. But you try and see this from across the table. It's a bit like, I can't quite see what the price markings are. And there is a reference guide that you could give to those other players, but again, if you've got 4 players on a big table, there's only one of those guides, and this mod shop, you're kind of squinting to go, how much are they again? Oh, I don't know. But, I mean, that's just one of the trays. I mean, you've got this, like, another tray here. You've got the boards, which all look great with the artwork. The boards are solid. The minis are good. I'm not going to get the entire thing out. You have to rely on pictures. But it all stores really neatly. There's a diagram in the box that tells you how to store it. So you basically just follow the instructions and it will work perfectly. And eventually, rulebook, reference sheet that I've put in. We'll get onto that in a minute. And there you go. It's easily stored and certainly a lot quicker to set up and take down. So props for that. Fantastic component quality in this game. You're certainly getting your money's worth on that front. The rules themselves, bit more hit and miss. Now you do have Rodney's fabled symbol on the box somewhere. Where's he gone? Yes, I've covered him up. Yep, he's there on the box. You want to learn the rules, I really definitely suggest watching that video at some point before you play this. Now the rulebook is not terrible, but it's quite text heavy, and I found that it's not laid out in a particularly logical fashion. It goes into a few concepts of the game like combat and that, before it even mentions what the turn sequence is, and even then before what the various actions do. So you find that as much as you can kind of learn the game, I found that there was a lot of rules checking. People would ask questions that are not quite intuitive on the board, and I'd have to think, oh, hang on, where's that in the book? And then you're trying to find it in the book, and it's not like clear where it is in the book, so you still find yourself searching. There's a lot of that. This is not an easy game to just pick up and play. Your first game of this is going to take you to that 2.5 to 3 hour mark if you're not careful, especially if there are 4 of you. We were playing this 3 player. Oh no, I lied. 2 to 5 players it goes up to. I didn't play it with 5. I have no intention of playing this with 5. You put that on the box to sell more cappies. Admit it.
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Because as much as you have to deal with that rulebook, the game is long. This is easily 2 hours plus every time you're playing it, and I can't imagine you would play this with 2 players that often. So you're talking 3, 4, or 5 players. 3 players will easily take you over 2 hours. 4 players will probably take you a good 2.5 to 3 hours easily. 5 players, I would just rather you shoot me, before I finish the game. Because the 4-player one had enough downtime as it is. The 5th player, I can't see why you would do it. It's just not worth it. I know, fair play, I admit, I've not played it with 5 players. But if the 4-player game is anything to base my assessment on, oh god, no. Not gonna happen. Because the actions on your turn are done with these little cogs, and the board you've got in front of you, you follow the arrows to do certain actions, like you move and then you've got momentum and stuff like that, which is kind of a fiddly rule to explain. But then after you've moved, you can do something else. So you move the cog along the arrow and do another action. Now you've got 5 of them in a turn. You take it in turns to do an action each, but it can take people a long time to think about what they're going to do. It's quite an analysis paralysis inducing game because you have a lot of options, which is a good thing. Do I want to go and collect this and deliver that to there? The market price is quite high for that one. Perhaps I should go do weapons now. And I do have this job to do. Maybe I should focus on that. Well, the priority contract wants me to go kill this dude, so maybe I should focus on getting some money and getting some weapons. There's a lot of different paths you can take, and I have to admit, the free player games I've had especially, you could find that everybody goes down a very different route. You know, the player powers help with that to some extent, but mainly you just might get that one person who goes around pillaging raiders, and then the other person who's just doing a harmless pickup and delivery service. And they will have very different looking trucks, very different styles of play, but still come to a point where, you know, there's going to be a winner and a loser, and still have fun playing it. And certainly I had fun with this as well, despite the heavy downtime. But yeah, you get those AP players, you get anybody who needs to think about their turn, you know, and even in your first couple of games, when you're still trying to get used to how the rules work and you can't quite memorize everything, there's going to be a lot of downtime. You know, I have been sat there kind of like, come on, come on, come on. All I want to do is just go to that place and deliver the weapon to get some money. Why is it taking you so long? And right, there we go. Done. Get my money. Sweet. Next player. I gotta wait again. It's definitely a bit of that. So, lengthwise, not brilliant. Rules-wise, hit and miss. Components, fantastic. Artwork, it's not my usual style, but I would be lying if I said it wasn't really, really good artwork. I dare say fantastic artwork. You know, it looks the part. Theme-wise, definitely puts you into that Mad Max setting. I mean, everything just kind of pops on the table with the trays, the mod shop. It does look like a cross between Mad Max and Fallout. You know, so if you're a fan of any of those two genres, then by all means have a look at this. You're probably going to get, you know, exactly what you want here. But is the game fun to play, given that it's quite a long game to play? Well, like I say, the fact that it is quite long does mean it can overstay its welcome a little bit. And you can certainly call the victor without too much trouble about 3/4 of the way through. But, you know, it is quite cool to take your raider with all the different spots. You can put trailers on the back of it, create all sorts of weird combinations. Like, are you just going to have a ton of storage and no guns and just hope the raiders don't come near you? Or are you going to have, like, well, I have a gun there, targeting system here, and you go up to the big boss enemy and it's just like, you're mine. So you can create some good moments. But when I say good moments, they don't feel like story moments. This is not a narrative game. There's flavor text on the faction sort of missions you can do, and it does go into a great deal of effort in the book to paint a story, to say like, oh yeah, you know, this is what the setting is, this is what all the factions are like, and I applaud it for trying. But I didn't feel like it came through that much in the game. I felt that the game just felt very mechanical, and a lot of that was down to the constant having to check the rulebook and deal with fiddly rules that aren't quite intuitive. But not to say there's no theme in this game at all. I mean, come on, it's got theme. That's fine. But I didn't feel like there were many moments where I can sort of think back and go, oh yeah, I remember when he did that. Or I remember when this guy did that. You know, they're just not coming to my mind at the moment. Unlike other games where the narrative is a lot stronger. Now, replay value with this, 2 thumbs up. Definitely it's got replay value. Because firstly, you've got the different paths you can take. But on top of that, you've got the map. The map is 16 tiles, and they're unfortunately not double-sided. You know, it's the same thing on both sides. But you, apart from some minor things that you have to keep the same every game, like, you know, raiders on the edges and the depot in the middle, the hexes and the locations are entirely random. This map will look completely different from game to game, and it will have dramatic effects on the gameplay, which is great. Love that amount of variety. You've got the different like people you can have with player powers of each. You've obviously got different styles for what do you want to kick your trailer out with. Do I want it to be weaponized? Do I want it to be storage, etc.? You've got different allies. You've got the faction jobs. Although the faction jobs kind of let me down a bit on the variety front, because I thought when I jumped into those, it's like, oh, there's going to be some really interesting stuff to do, and depending which faction I do, it's going to be more combat orientated or more delivery orientated. But I found that pretty much no matter who I went for, the faction jobs kind of devolved into one of 2 main categories. Go take water, like, well, go take X resource to this spot that you normally wouldn't do, get money, draw some allies, pick one, and there you are. Or you might get the card itself as an ally. There's one category. And the other category might be go pillage a couple of places. That was kind of all the jobs were. I was kind of expecting some more interesting jobs. You know, give me a bit more narrative in it. But nah, they just seemed very generic to the point where I just didn't care about the flavor text on the card. As soon as I saw that the reward and requirement was exactly the same as the one I'd just done before for this other faction, I couldn't have cared less. It just didn't work. Now, the priority contracts, you only use 3 in a game, and there's about 6 or 7, I think. You know, there's a good amount of variety with those. They're much better. because one of them involves you killing a boss character, one involves you just doing the basic get a bunch of money and give it away. You know, another wants you to get a nuke. You have to get a special storage, go get a nuke and then go dump it on somewhere. Another has you pulling a heist, I think. Another one has you doing a vision quest, which is kind of bizarre. But, you know, the combination of those three can change up the game a lot as well. You know, you might have some very combat-orientated ones. You might have some where you need to focus more on the pick-up and delivery aspect. Really good. Here's where the replay value goes a little bit too far. Not that there's a bad thing, but come on. You can play this in a campaign mode. What? Basically, it allows you to play something like 8 to 10 games. I think it's 8. Like games of this in succession with minor rules changes. I mean, this is not a legacy game at all, and it's kind of not really that much of a campaign. I mean, there are some subtle changes, some tweaks in the rules, so it's not just simply play 8 games in a row like some games can be, but it does have a slightly differing campaign as you go through. But that's 8 games of this. So you need the same group of people who are willing to play this 8 times for a good 2 to 3 hours a pop. That's going to take you a while. That's assuming you even have that set up. I don't. I wish I had the same group of people that I could play the exact same game with 8 times in a row. It just doesn't happen. I go to 2 different clubs. I have to teach new people games on a regular basis, and I might bring this out another night and they go, oh yeah, I want to play that again. Yeah, great. Oh, you too new to this one? Right, well, I can't do a campaign mode now, can I? And even then, I've got to teach the rules. Again, I've got to check the rule book because it's not intuitive enough. Yeah, it's one of those things where, okay, the replay value is certainly there. And if you end up as a diehard fan of this, you're going to go ape for this. You're going to love it. You know, you will be kept, amused for as long as possible. But yeah, the setup is not quite like there for a lot of people. So all in all, I do like this game, and I'm going to mark it on its own merits, not because of the elephant in the room. You know, as a game, I think it's solid. Looks the part, is definitely well produced. Is a bit long for my liking, but then so are a lot of pick up and deliver games. The faction jobs could have been a bit more varied for my liking. The downtime is definitely quite high, particularly with the 4-player and 5-player. I just don't even want to try. But I could see this being really good as a 3-player game. And, well, I can see it. I have played it 3 players, and it certainly was a lot better at 3 players. So, I like it. I think it's solid. I would definitely give it a pretty high 7. I think, it's not one that I would want to pull out all the time. If somebody's offering it on the table, I'd be like, okay, I've got a bit of time on my hands. You know what? I feel like doing some Mad Max style delivering, and movie references will come out from people. It's definitely a solid title. So 7 on its own merits. But here's the elephant in the room. Remember I said that pick up and deliver is one of those mechanics that you can't really do that much difference with? I mean, Zyre, it's pick up and deliver in space. Version of Venus, it's pick up and deliver in space. This is pick up and deliver with Mad Max. Spike is pick up and deliver with trains, and a lot of train games are like that. There's only so much you can do. So I don't need that many pick up and deliver games. I have Spike because it's a short game. I don't know many short pick up and deliver games. There's not many. I mean, there's a Catan mod I know, but that's about it. Yeah. I already have this. Star Wars Outer Rim. This is also a pick up and deliver game. It's in the Star Wars universe, which is a theme I prefer to Mad Max. That's a personal thing. You might think differently on that. But this one's more streamlined. It has a solo mode. It can take a while to play, but I've never had it go quite to the lengths of this. The downtime is definitely, I think, less in this than that one. I think the downtime in this one is definitely shorter. But this one, I just think the rules are more intuitive, it flows smoother, there's more story narratives that you will tell. I mean, I still remember how my jerk of a friend, as soon as I was like, yay, I've got the Falcon with Chewbacca, he comes along with his droid army and takes him away and then deposits him in carbonite somewhere. It's like, I hate you. I still remember that story from this game. I don't get that from this. So, if I'm going to choose between one or the other, I'm going to pick Star Wars Outer Rim. And I'm not entirely certain who wouldn't unless you didn't like the Star Wars universe. Of course, like I say, I can't speak for everybody. That's more a general statement, but that's my elephant in the room. I like this game. I think it's good. I think it's a solid 7, and I think some people are going to get like things to go for in here. It's pricey, but you are getting your money's worth with those game trays, the components, the artwork, and the replay value. It's definitely good value for the amount of money that you're spending for it, and it is a huge box. But I would just rather take Star Wars Outer Rim. That's a personal thing. Maybe you think similar. I'm interested to know. What's your favourite pick up and deliver game? Let me know in the comments. But like I say, it's a good game. Definitely worth checking out. So Wasteland Express Delivery Service, get the names in the right order, from Pandasaurus Games, solid. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. But remember, whether you think this game is awesome or just mediocre, it's only a game still at the end of the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time.